Hi, it's Tuesday, July 29th, about 7:40 p.m. Pacific time, and around 2 hours ago, I made a short video that was like, hey, heads up, if you live on the West Coast in the tsunami zone, there has been a tsunami watch issued for the entire West Coast of the United States, starting with Alaska and going all the way down to Southern California. And that's because there was a very large earthquake off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia. And initially, they said it was 8.7. It's been upgraded to an 8.8. And that was of particular interest to me because my eldest child is living in a tsunami zone on the Central Oregon coast. So of course we all got on the horn and called her, and she was like, everybody calm your tits, I'm fine. And I'll get into that more in a minute. But the tsunami watch has been upgraded for most of the West Coast to a tsunami advisory. So moving from yellow to orange as of the time that I'm filming this, 7:40 p.m. But also a small portion of Alaska and all of Hawaii has been upgraded to a tsunami warning. So everybody needs to be checking with tsunami.gov if you live in an area that is potentially going to be impacted by this. I said in my original video, like, go ahead and pack a bag, know your evacuation route, get ready, because we know approximately what time, if a tsunami is going to occur, that it will hit these various locations. So for example, where my daughter lives, it's expected, if one hits, to hit around midnight. And I posted my original 1 minute long video across multiple social media platforms, and I got a lot of people who were concerned about Ruth. She's made frequent appearances on my YouTube channel for quite a while, so people know who she is. And we're like, I hope your daughter's safe. And so I wanted to take a second here and explain to you the situation she's in, because she's literally in the safest place in the entire world that is inside a tsunami zone. So before I show you some images of what it looks like where she is and why she's so safe compared to basically anywhere else that is at risk for a tsunami, I just want to remind folks that tsunami evacuation routes are really important to have them mapped, maintained, and then having safe locations for people to evacuate to that gets them up and out of the tsunami zone, crucial, right? We can all understand why we would need that. For residents, for tourists, it is worth investing in infrastructure that creates tsunami towers, that creates safe evacuation places that are up against the high water line, above the high water line. And because I can't help but bring it back around to the ways that Trump is wrecking every fucking thing in this country. He is ruining something that you care about, multiple somethings that you care about. I'd like to point out that Joe Biden's infrastructure bill was going to fund a new tsunami tower on the hospital in Astoria, Oregon. That money was already allocated by Congress, just like much of the other infrastructure spending that was allocated for communities all over this country, especially focused on helping revitalize rural America and also making rural America much safer, not just tsunami towers, but improving roads, improving waterworks so people had upgraded, up-to-date, safe water supplies, improving sewage, drainage. Donald Trump, with no legal authority, took that money back from communities all over the country, including Astoria, Oregon, and they're no longer going to get their tsunami tower, from what I understand, because Trump is actively trying to make things worse for everybody all across the country, actively trying to wreck everything that we care about. It's just that there's a chunk of America, the part that is most impacted by the programs that he's destroying and the ways he's disrupting the functionality of our society. They don't necessarily see it yet. Anyway, thanks for letting me get on my high horse for a second. So my daughter is actually just feet away from the world's safest building to be in a tsunami, or to be on top of. So my daughter goes to Oregon State University. I'm going to quote here from the Oregon Stater, which is their newspaper. The signs are everywhere. You start to notice them, blue and white and printed with the words tsunami evacuation route alongside an illustration of a cresting wave. After crossing Newport's Yaquina Bay Bridge, follow them and you might reach Oregon State's Gladys Valley Marine Studies building, which is not only a space for learning and research, but also a vertical evacuation structure. So the vertical evacuation structure, which is 47 feet up off the ground, on the roof of this building, is absolutely necessary because we live in the Cascadia subduction zone. A lot of the concern is like, are we going to have the big earthquake right here where we live, and then the tsunami is going to hit very, very quickly? And the EPA and NOAA and all of this really important marine research happens right there at the Hatfield. Those folks are working right in the tsunami zone. So the fault line for the Cascadia subduction zone runs right off the coast of Newport. And that means that there is the potential for an 8.0 or greater magnitude earthquake to strike directly off the beach. where all of these marine science buildings are, all of this research is being done, is basically like, here's sea level, and it's like right at sea level, right on this estuary. Getting back to the article, as a result of this setup down there, architects engineered the evacuation building, which was funded by a grant from the Wayne and Gladys Valley Foundation and opened in the fall of 2021 for the worst case Cascadia rupture. It's absolutely useful now with a huge earthquake off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia, which is potentially is sending a wave toward the west coast of the United States. But it really was designed to have a disaster-proof structure if an earthquake hit much closer to Newport itself. So the building is earthquake-proof and tsunami-proof. Well, I shouldn't say proof. They call it earthquake resilient and tsunami resilient. The architects of this building drew inspiration from foreign embassy buildings that are meant to be bomb-proof, as well as other earthquake and tsunami resilient structures around the world. There are several features of this building that make it basically the safest place to be inside a tsunami zone anywhere in the world. So first is that there is an extra deep foundation. So it's not just the tsunami, right? It's also an earthquake. So during an earthquake, you see the ground liquefy. And to compensate for that, the Marine Studies building sits atop a 100-foot deep honeycomb-shaped foundation made of soil mixed with concrete and then secured to the foundation by 50-foot-long bolts. This means that the foundation of the building is twice as deep as the building is tall. It has been likened to standing on top of an iceberg. Most of the structure is underground. The building is also designed with breakaway walls. The idea here is not that the building will survive the tsunami, it's that the people will survive. The safe place in this building, if a tsunami hits, is up on the roof. According to the article, in the event of a tsunami, the building's exterior walls are meant to collapse so that the water can rush through, but that the roof, which is well above the highest possible tsunami line, will stay intact. The building was actually built with redundancies so that some of the I-beams supporting the roof can actually be compromised and the roof will still maintain its integrity. One of the key features when you see this building is that there is a huge ramp that leads up to the roof. This is meant to accommodate the largest possible number of evacuees. There's actually 3 ways to access the roof, this big, huge, wide ramp that you can walk up or roll up. The ramp basically wraps the exterior of the building. There's also a set of stairs. And then there's also an elevator. It's the only elevator in the world certified to still run in the event of an earthquake. Another interesting feature of this building is that when you have a tsunami, it's not just the waves itself, it's the debris that can be so incredibly dangerous. And so there's a lip around the roof of the building where folks will evacuate to that is considered ship-proof. Because the top of the building is above the waterline, but like ships that are knocked loose from the harbor in the event of a tsunami will be above that. So they have a special crumple zone that is meant to take the impact of ships that might get blown in on the tsunami. And lastly, there are enough supplies in a cache on the roof, food, water, and first aid for up to 920 people and their pets to survive for more than 2 days. There's also an Open Me First binder with protocol and instructions for evacuees. So these are the kind of very necessary practical things a functional society should be funding. So 1, thank you for worrying about my kid. She's going to be totally fine. I'm not worried. They are 2 minutes away from that building. But also think about what kind of society we want. What should our tax dollars be funding? What should our government be doing for us? What are the things that we need to be safe and prosperous as Americans? And is what we have now getting us closer toward that or further away from it? So I hope everybody stays safe on the coast. Please take care of yourselves. Sleep with your shoes on.